All right, hello everyone, and welcome back to Redlock. Time for the last few matches of the semifinals weekend. 3 more to go, starting with our 2 losers bracket matches. First one up here, Rumyndra versus nujabes. Rumi has had, well, pretty easy time through the bracket so far. 5-1 against Sidetrack Day, 5-2 against Non-Cycle, 6-2 against Marwin into the winners bracket semifinals. TS Fury, nujabes also having, honestly, not too bad of a time, but a couple of closer matches, or at least one closer match. 5-1 against Viren in the round of 32, 5-3 against Zex, who was just eliminated by Non-Cycle earlier today, and 6-0 against Pink Eye Fan last weekend in the quarterfinals. So both of these players have had a pretty easy time getting to the semifinals. Not to say that their matchups have been easy, but that they have not really met a major challenge so far, aside from maybe TS Fury and Zex in that round of 16 matchup. Let's see how they go up against each other now. Rumi, the number 1 seed in the tournament. Only one number 1 seed in Qualifier. Number 1 on 2 different mod categories, and number 2 overall on DT. Like claiming not to be a tapping player. Yes, Fury, though, very, very good on the hard rock, very good on the DTs as well. And don't let the 550k on DT2 in the qualifiers fool you. He has had a lot of very, very good scores on those tapping maps later on in the tournament. Plus, number 4 on the Hidden 2 in qualifiers, 560k there on that Hidden 2. Even if you go back to Rumi, he only got 350k on that map. That's a very, very good score from TS Fury on that Hidden 2. So, not to be outdone. I mean, he has had, I think, has been on the come up in terms of a lot of his other skill sets. Maybe we'll see some warm-ups here for these 2 players, but personally, I'm hoping we just get right into it. And GG. But it'll be good regardless. I think a big part of this matchup is edging out small differences over your opponent on particular things. Rumi, I feel, is going to be maybe a little bit better on the aim, maybe a little bit better on stuff like the hiddens. TS Fury, probably better on the hard rocks, at least a little bit, especially on finger control focused maps like that hard rock 2. And probably better on the tapping focused stuff as well. That DT2, I think, is sure to be a power pick for him. And while he historically has not been a very good reading player in tournament, it seems like he has definitely started picking that skill set up a lot more recently. While Rumi is picking a warm-up, talk a little bit about the pool here. We have, I think, a lot of more toss-up-y maps in the pool. Things like tech and especially kind of mixed skill set stuff like the Nomad 5, I think are going to be very toss-up-y in this pool, as well as stuff that doesn't really have kind of a set skill set or that isn't a particular strong suit for either of these players. But I think in general, you're looking at aim and aim control for Rumi. You're looking at tapping and general hard rock finger control for TS Fury. Now, there is some overlap between those aim control picks and between the hard rock finger control especially. So I think Rumi is definitely going to be sticking more to the hiddens, more to the nomads in this match, and TS Fury much more to the DTs and the hard rocks. Maybe I'll be proven wrong though. Maybe we'll see a cheeky reading pick out of TS Fury, because I think Rumi has also gotten a lot better at tapping, and so that typical advantage that you'd think of in a tapping player versus aim player matchup just isn't quite there as much anymore. And, well, that's kind of what you expect for a number 1 versus 5 seed, right? You don't really expect either of these players to have a major weakness. And indeed, there's not really anything super abusable for either player in this matchup. Just smaller advantages. But yeah, I mean, this is the warm-up for Rumi. You can see the preference here in terms of map style on display in this one. As an aside, this map can now never get ranked, because not that it was ever going to go for rank anyway, being 9.86 stars and vastly overmapped, but this can now never get ranked because of the update to the content usage permissions, where anything from Megarex as a label is completely disallowed now from getting ranked, as well as from use in tournaments if it's not already ranked. Not sure if this was intentional or not, but this being Signal featuring Such Mame Yudofu remix means it's 3 different artists all on Megarex's label at the same time, which is kind of a crazy pull for Rumi on this warm-up. The triple play of disallowed artists in this map. Triple play is the best Boston pizza order. That is something. All right, and it looks like my co-caster is here. So welcome, Lily. How's it going?
Hello. I am here for this wonderful winners bracket match. Rumyndra and TS Fury. I'm very excited for this one. A little late here, but was that the first warm-up?
That was indeed the first warm-up. It's okay, though. The second one is 30 seconds.
Well, that's completely fine, then. A little bit more time just to kind of talk about these two players. I mean, they have been making their ways through this tournament so far. Definitely 2 of the best players in the tournament. Of course, Rumyndra coming in at seed 1. TS Fury at seed 5. And both of them do actually have a lot of different play styles, if I remember correctly. I think TS Fury's a lot more heavy hard rock double time favored, and Rumyndra likes a bit more of like the consistency stuff and the hiddens as well.
Yeah, generally speaking, yes. I wouldn't say Rumi is a hidden player in particular, but he certainly likes it more than TS Fury, who really does not play that mod. But I was looking at some of the scores from qualifiers. TS Fury actually got 550k on the Hidden 2 in qualifiers, which was number 4 on the map. So he's actually been kind of on the come up in that skill set for at least low AR aim in tournaments, or maybe he just got a god run, who knows. But generally speaking, yeah, doesn't like the Hidden too much in tournaments in particular. So we'll see. We'll see if he's kind of generally improved by how well he's able to play these hiddens, because aside from the Hidden 3, this is a pretty tough hidden pool. Inferno Inception with a lot of kind of jank and flow in that map. Hidden 2, this Iosis map with a ton of really high spacing, awkward aim at AR 7.5. And then, of course, Shadow Castle is a very well-known map. Kind of speaks for itself at this point. So you have some really tough hidden picks for non-hidden players in this pool. Even for some hidden players, some of those can be pretty tough.
Yeah, definitely starting to get to the point where you do kind of have to be pretty proficient in every skill set that you are choosing that's late into this tournament. The maps do tend to get pretty difficult, and if you're just kind of like subpar to average on a certain skill set, then picking that map becomes less and less favorable to you. But we're going to get picks and bans started here. Second pick was the choice for Rumyndra, who won out on the rolls. And second ban is going to be the choice for TS Fury, and the first ban already done here on the DT3. Not going to allow the raw tapping here on that XI map.
And Hidden 2 Nomad 6 bans. How would you know? Despite, having a pretty good run on that Hidden 2 in qualifiers, seemingly just not wanting to play them during the actual matches. And it is going to be, of course, a DT2 ban for Rumyndra, which I think makes a lot of sense. TS Fury, in addition to being like just a solid speed player, isn't necessarily like a speed shred player. He's much more well known for being very strong on finger control and burst maps in DT, which is exactly what the DT2 and DT3 are. Finger control DT2 and the burst DT3. So not really surprising that Rumi leaves up the Nomad 2, which is the most like stamina shred focused out of those maps, as well as the Hard Rock 3, which is kind of where your typical Nomad 2 would go. And also not really surprising that TS Fury Nujabes is picking into the DT1. He's a very good DT aim player.
Yep, I would agree with that statement. The CT1's AR 10.5 though, and I know that can catch up a couple of these players that have made it so far into the tournament, but I do think that both these players aren't going to be bothered by that AR too much. This is an older map, I think from 2015. I guess calling a map older that's from 2015 doesn't feel right, but I mean that was 10 years ago at this point, so a little bit of a different map style than a lot of the stuff that you see nowadays.
This map is old, you're old, I'm old, we're all old. The passage of time waits for no one, and the start of this match no longer waits for warm-ups. We're finally into it as we get into the DT1. And yeah, I think this is, it's a map that both of these players have probably played at some point before. It's been around for quite a while. It's been in tournaments, God knows how long. Somewhat easier during the first two PIs, somewhat harder during the last PI. The spacing really moves up a notch in that last PI time. And there's a couple of traded misses back and forth here. 2 sets of breaks for both players. Make that 3 now for TS Fury right at the end of that first PI time. And 95 to 98 is the accuracy right now in favor of Rumyndra. And of course, for a player like TS Fury, like Nujabes, this is the difficulty in picking something like this. It's DT, but it's not a speed map anymore. This is just aim.
Yeah, pretty tough spot to be in, having found a couple more mistakes, as well as the lower accuracy now. Going to be finding another mistake going into the next PI section. Kind of have to hope for Rumyndra to start to fall apart here in the ending, or else this one's going to get out of hand pretty quickly. It's already a 250-ish combo advantage, which on a map this short in combo length is definitely a lot, but Rumyndra does finally drop at the very end of that PI. Only a quarter of the map remaining. TS Fury definitely has the time and the combo to get this one.
You said you'd need Rumyndra to fall apart in the last PI time. It's definitely possible because this is the hardest part of the map. The spacing of the jumps is bigger now than ever before coming into this last hard part. But the real question is, can TS3 hold? Because this is now, again, the most difficult part. We've seen a couple of players just lock in on this ending and hold combo where it mattered most. And TS Fury right now is doing that. Rumi finds another miss, and TS Fury just locking in during the hardest part of the map, hitting everything in the last PI time and able to take the point. Just barely, though. 35k not even in his favor, but it's still a point on the board and a successful first pick for nujabes.
Yeah, I mean, what more can you say? He did what he had to do. Anything less than what we saw at the very end, and that point was going to go the way of Rumyndra on a break point. So definitely very good and important that TS Fury won that one. Always starting off with a breakpoint definitely feels pretty bad. No matter who you're up against, especially up against Rumyndra here, you definitely don't want to give him any form of leeway as far as a lead goes. But it's going to be Rumyndra's first pick, and the Hidden 4 is going to be the choice here for him. Very uncomfortable, awkward, a lot of these like little wiggle cut streams, just pretty much for the entire map that start to get more and more space the further it goes.
This pick's just ruthless. Like, no holds barred from Rumi, no saving it for later, no dancing around it at all, just straight into the right hook right off the bat. He launches himself from the top rope as soon as the match starts. This Hidden 4 is probably going to make anyone who doesn't regularly play Hidden Flame eat some dirt. So, kind of expecting that a little bit here from TS Fury. Especially with, of course, double banning the Hidden 2 no mod 6. You really do expect any player who does that to be a lot less comfortable on the Hidden overall. And Rumi is just chain missing the intro, so you never know, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, this is the kind of map that is particularly brutal even without Hidden, but when you add Hidden on top of that, just finding 1 or 2 misses nets you maybe 8 to 10 misses in a stream section, and Rumyndra going to be finding plenty of breaks in this beginning section, already dropping down to 88% accuracy before TS Fury finally ends up trading. So it's a pretty sizable accuracy advantage that Rumindra's going to have to be able to get back at some point here, but this kind of map definitely takes players off guard, I think, especially right at the get-go. It just kind of tells you what it's all about with the wiggles.
I think TS Fury has been LARPing as a hidden hater, because this is not the kind of accuracy you expect from somebody who is not a hidden player on a map like this. I mean, even this early in, you see the accuracy from Rumi. This is definitely a bad run from Rumi, I will say that. Like, I think he almost certainly has a lot of locals that are better than this, but TS Fury is crushing him right now, and in no small part due to this 97 to 89% ACK gap that nujabes has created. ACK Canyon, excuse me, 8% in his favor. I mean, this is looking very rough for Rumi on the first pick, and I don't know if there's a way for a comeback to happen unless TS Fury also just completely falls apart and drops down into the depths of the Colorado River with him.
Yeah, I mean, this is such a volatile pick. No matter how this one ends up going here, you can't expect to get the same score that you get in locals in practice on this kind of a map. It's just so easy to make mistakes. Unfortunately, though, for Rumi, it's just not going his way so far in this one, although TS Fury is playing absolutely phenomenally. I think even if Rumi wasn't making all these mistakes that he has been, it still would have been a very hard-fought point to get versus the score that TS Fury is putting up right now.
Finally, a couple of more misses come through for TS Fury, but as you said, it's not like this is a bad score from TS Fury either. This is, not high combo, sure, but being able to hold on to 350k plus on this is, I think, pretty commendable. I'm gonna go ahead and take a look at the stats on this map. I don't know how much this has been played so far this weekend, so it might be somewhat meaningless, but 375k, not too shabby from TS Fury on this map. And Rumi not having a good time. Not having a good local there. Let's put it that way.
Wait till you see the stats on this map. There were a couple of outliers. I think one in particular that I can remember from last night.
Okay, yeah. Well, Azer doesn't count on this map. So aside from him, everyone else has been, 460k for Frankie, 375k for Vesperit, 375k for Vesperit, 310k for non-cycle, or 370k for non-cycle, and then 198k from Pink Eye Fan and 86k from Marwin and Zex. So yeah, I mean, if you're TS Fury here, I think you're just happy to match Vesprit and Non-Cycle on this map. Like, that's a pretty solid performance.
Yeah, definitely one of the higher scores that you'll be getting to see on a map like that. I think Azer's score was definitely an outlier. That guy is really good at hidden and really good at that kind of a map as well. So his score makes a lot of sense, but you don't expect people to drop like 800 Ks on that kind of a map. Hard Rock 2, though, is going to be the next choice here for TS Fury. Going into a bit of precision on this one.
Yeah, this is kind of a pick that I expected him to go into at some point. It's precision, hard rock, finger control, and rhythm, which TS Fury is a really good hard rock player, pretty decent at precision, and also a finger control player. So this map is pretty much right up his alley. And well, I think Rumi is having some kind of, I feel like either he's having some kind of external issue or something, because 80 act even at the start of this, yeah, it's definitely possible, but combined with the hidden 4 score, maybe something's up. Maybe he's just having a bad day. Who knows?
Definitely doesn't feel like the normal style of play here from Rumyndra, but I mean, you can't discount him just yet. It's pretty early on into this match, although we are struggling pretty hard on this Hard Rock 2 pick, albeit you do kind of expect TS Fury to kind of shred on this map, but Rumi is not doing too hot so far, already dropping down to the 86, now up to 87% accuracy. Again, about a 10 percentage points of accuracy difference between these two players.
Yeah, and this map is pretty much already over, honestly. Like, there's just not much that Rumi can do now. It's only a 2-minute pick, so map's been over for a little bit. Even into the streamier section here, just will not matter. And TS Fury, again, a pretty solid score overall. Just taking a look at what we've seen the other 6 times that this has been played by other people, or I guess 3 times that it's been played, is kind of an average 440k. So TS Fury not having the best score on this, and actually being a little bit below average. It's a pretty even distribution of scores on this map. Being a little bit below average, but just able to gap anyway. And unfortunately for Rumi, really not having a good time on that map. Oh, I'm sorry. I was looking at Hard Rock 3, not Hard Rock 2. Yeah, no, this has been played by 5 other people, and 409k is that is 3rd by less than 100 points. So pretty solid overall run for TS Fury there. The best score on the map is 449k, so it was quite a good score.
Yeah, definitely an impressive score here. We're gonna switch things up though. Going into the No-Mob 4, it's pretty typical Nuja mapping. I think a lot of people are familiar with this style of mapping at this point, but it's very heavy on the slider tech aim, as well as a little bit of mech tech towards the end. But I mean, it's all going to be about who is going to be holding on to the combo longer, up to about 2/3 of this map, and then it really takes off. And if you're able to hold any combo through that section, you're almost guaranteed the point.
For Rumi, not what you want to see this early section. Yeah, it's missable, but definitely easier than most of the rest of the map. And another break on the cut stream there.
Pretty tough misses to get so early on into this map, but again, it's a pretty jarring map compared to anything else that we've seen so far. Now, TS Fury is going to finally end up trading just a little bit here, after building up about like 200 or 300 more combo after Rumyndra's first miss, but 60,000 points is definitely doable, but Rumyndra kind of has to lock in from here on out, right? The end of the map is not free. Most of the combo has to come from this beginning section, and finding more mistakes here, as we see Rumyndra doing, is just not helping her case.
Yeah, has to lock in for the second half now. Down 75k, but TS Fury giving him an opportunity. Does find a miss right before the second half of the map starts. A little bit of free combo here for both players. Gonna benefit Rumi. Up only about 120 combo though, not too much of a lead. The accuracy being 8% in favor of nujabes here. Also gonna slow the roll on that score lead coming back Rumi's way. So this will go, but it will go slowly. It's down to about 60k now. Kind of hovering and wanting to come down. Another couple of slider jumps into another big section with the stream, and Rumi misses on the slider jumps, and I think that's most of his chance gone now. Another miss to come through, and nujabes just holding on in the hardest parts of these maps. Does finally find that drop in this next PI time, but the lead now up to 80k once again, and just a sliver of map left. Not that much of a combo lead for Rumi, even though he does have that combo lead. It's not coming fast enough. It's staying up at 75-80k, and this score lead is likely going to stay put here for TS Fury. Despite a solid run of the ending from Rumi, it's not going to be enough to bring this back.
Yeah, and I mean, a pretty solid ending for both players, but when all is said and done, TS Fury now is up 4-0 with that second breakpoint now. Chance to consolidate on that, and this is looking pretty bad for Rumi. He's gonna need a bit of a turnaround here. Really just has to switch things up. I think the jank is not working versus TS Fury. Most other players it would work, but TS Fury is just well prepared for this kind of pick strategy into him. He winning out on the hidden 4 the way that he did, and then winning out on the Nomad 4 as well. There's a little bit more jank left in the pool, but I think we need to see a different pick strategy from Rumi coming forward here.
Yeah, I think one thing that's maybe starting to play a factor, I'm not sure how much of it is, but there's a pretty big rank difference between these two players that you don't really talk about too much in tournaments, because there are a lot of exceptions to that rule, right? But Rumi's rank 1400 and nujabes is rank 60-ish. Actually, he's climbed further to rank 44 since registrations ended. There's something to be said for scaling when you go from a 7-star qualifier pool to now a 7.5-star semifinals pool. I don't know how much of this really is that scaling, but definitely could be a part of the reason why Rumi is struggling a little bit. Maybe just having a bad day. You never know. But yeah, some of these picks are not working, and TS Fury, I think to his credit, also is playing pretty well. Has had some really solid performances, even on maps where we don't really usually expect him to have them, like on that hidden 4. So has been, I think, a mix of both of those things, with TS Fury putting up some good scores on most maps, and Rumi having a bit of a tough time on some.
Yeah, it's hard to say for sure. I mean, Rumi is putting up pretty solid scores for the most part. I think on a lot of these picks, has been putting up scores that against most other players would definitely have netted him a couple of points. But yeah, TS Fury is just playing so phenomenally. But you know, I'm talking about these two players, and they're both finding a couple misses here on this Hard Rock 3 on this one. This one's all streams for this, and it's 190 BPM as well, so the barrier for entry on tapping is relatively low, but the aim just gets to be pretty heavy before this map goes on. The spacing gets so massive.
It's still winnable for either of these players, though. Halfway in, combo basically the same, and there's a miss for TS Fury. Huge chain miss, drops about 20k instantly, and the other 10k of that score lead now gone with the combo lead on Rumi's side. And here it is. This is all it takes, right? One section where you find a chain miss and your opponent doesn't. And suddenly you have yourself a lead in the combo, a lead in the score, and the accuracy pretty much evened out between the two of you, despite your opponent being a Hard Rock player and being a tapping player at the same time. Now into the Lemuria streams, these consecutive 5-note bursts with tons of flowing attached to them. And there was a couple of chain misses for both of these players during that section as we head into the last quarter of the map. 90k in favor of Rumy. We've seen how quickly that can change over. Another chain miss to come through. 150 combo lead, but it's answered very quickly with another chain miss from TS Fury, as Rumy and nujabes now both holding through the linear stream section here. And neither player giving up a massive lead, but there goes Rumy, another big chain miss. I think, though, the map is basically over. It's just all this slow section here at the end of the map, and yes, there's combo lead, but that score lead is not coming back fast enough, and Rumy going to be on the board on the Hard Rock stream pick.
What an interesting turn of events here, Dio. I have like such a big smile on my face right now because I wanted Rumyndra to start getting some points, but I was almost completely sold that this was going to be a TS Fury wipe on this pick at the very least. This just screams TS Fury, but Rumy pulled out all the stops and was able to get this break point. And now we are going to have another chance to get another point on the board here. Stop a little bit of the momentum that TS Fury had gotten rolling. A 4-0 start is pretty tough, especially on your mental. But Rumy is keeping the composure here. Winning that Hard Rock free is very tough to ask for Rumy, but he was able to get it done. So really solid work on that one. Now going to switch things up. No more jank. We're going into some hidden consistency.
Well, you say no more jank, but this map, this
Well,
map is a little bit jank.
A little
It's got
jank.
some-
A little
it's got some
jank.
jank in it. This hidden one, it's a lot of awkward aim, a lot of tapping focus as well. 10 BPM flow streams kind of abound in this map, but more so the combination of those plus a huge difficulty in wide angle jumps in this map is really what brings the difficulty up to match the rest of the pool on this one. And again, both players somewhat struggling on the intro here, though more struggles for Rumy, finding more combo breaks, more axe drops. Yesterday, though, also down around 95-96%, not on the FC either, so either player off to a perfect start. And there's another slide break for nujabes now. TS Fury finding actually a chain miss on that stream, and the score is just kind of flickering back and forth. 10k in favor of Rumy now.
Pretty solid work so far to keep this a little bit of a score advantage that he's been able to get. The combo is there for Rumy right now. He's doing really solid work, holding on to the recoveries. But yeah, this beginning section just caught off both players pretty heavily. I think coming out of the Hard Rock into this lower AR, like 9.4 versus the 10, especially with hidden, definitely is a little bit jarring on this style of the map. But yeah, TS Fury continuing to find a couple more mistakes and dropping a little bit more accuracy here or there. It's netting a pretty sizable advantage. What was only just about 10,000 just a little bit earlier is now climbed up to 150,000 for Rumy, and it's looking to continue this way halfway through the map. Really solid work.
Looking like he played that hidden 4 with mouse or something. Like, I don't know what happened between the hidden 4 and now, but he is locked in on this hidden 1 compared to earlier on in the match. And this is very, very good, right? This is actually, I think, already quite a good score on this map for Rumy. Yeah, this is already the #1 score on the map so far this weekend. That said, it's only been played twice. Played in Rupersion versus Pinkai Fan and Non-Cycle versus Zex. Rupersion got 409k. That was the best score so far of the weekend, and Rumy is going to absolutely crush that. Already well above 600k with high combo still for the ending section of this map. Looking to breach 700k and maybe close up to 750k, almost 800k actually by the end of it. 770k plus for Rumy. Massive outlier top score on the hidden 1 from him. To say, I'm here, by the way. I still got some gas in the tank. More than double his opponent's score, and almost double the former best score on the map.
Yeah, I mean, just a complete turnaround here for Rumyndra. 4 times the combo of TS Fury's highest combo on this map. 2 X-Miss on that as well. This is definitely looking a little bit more like the Rumyndra that we've seen throughout the previous matches in this tournament. Maybe just a little bit of an issue of warmed upness, potentially. Maybe just needed a little bit of time to get really into the swing of things here. But yeah, these last 2 points for Rumyndra have been absolutely crucial. Now, that isn't to say that he's completely out of the woods. You still are down 2 points on TS Fury's next pick. You do still have to get back another break point, but I mean, he's doing pretty solid right now to put a stop to the snowball that TS Fury was rolling. And I really did like how he was looking on that hidden one. It's just complete switch up from any of the previous maps that we'd seen.
And now we get a very different sort of pick. Enjoy the Silence by Depeche Mode, mapped by K4L1. This is Precision in the DT pool. CS 7.6, AR 9.9, and very, very aim control focused, low BPM stream type of Precision pick, but a lot of really tricky patterns within those streams. And something that I think TS Fury should be pretty solid on. So this is, I think, a good pivot here. DT gimmick is something that TS Fury should be very, very strong on generally. And the fact that he's also a solid hard rock player, I think, plays very well into this sort of precision DT gimmick that we have here on this round. As we get into a map with potentially the best custom hit sounds that we have in the pool this weekend.
But yeah, anything that's key sounded is always going to be a plus in my heart. Pretty solid map as well. I remember playing this one in USC without the double time mod, and it was a pretty enjoyable experience. But with double time, it just adds a whole level of difficulty to the map. As you said, it's such small CS 7.6, and the precision that is required in order to maintain your combo throughout this map is pretty high too, because there's a lot of sliders in this map, a lot of places to just find some slider breaks here or there. So far, both of these players are doing pretty solid, although we get to the first little tricky section and TS Fury does drop the combo right before that. So slight advantage in combo for Rumyndra. Accuracy is looking pretty even.
Finally, some decisive combo here for TS Fury. About a 200 combo lead, just under that, going into the middle KI time. These sliders are just so difficult. Some of these overlapping slider patterns are so hard to read. And just a small misaim like that for TS Fury gives up that big combo lead. Is traded back with a couple of misses, though, for Rumyndra. So now looking pretty solid here for nujabes. No big lead either way. A 35k score lead in his favor and no huge combo difference. Only about 100 combo in favor of Rumyndra, but down 2% active. Excuse me, as well. So the score lead is going over, but it's going pretty slowly. It's down to 25k now. That's a 10k difference. And there's another couple of traded misses for both of these players. The act moving in favor of Rumi. The score lead also moving his way, but the combo staying put for both teams. And if the combo holds the same for both of these players, it's pretty unlikely that anything about the map is going to change. But there's another drop for TS Fury, and Rumi not matching that drop means another about 120 combo lead or so in his favor. The score lead down to 12k. The end of the map rapidly approaching, but the score lead also still moving for Rumi's side, except it's not anymore. There's just no more patterns left. It's all these slow sliders into the ending, and TS Fury just by the skin of his teeth, is assuming there's no spin to win shenanigans going on, and there will not be. Will take it, but just barely, not even 12,000 points on the board for TS Fury on that map.
I thought for sure that was going to go the way of Rumi. It was so close at the very end, but I think what did Rumi end at the very end was the dropping of the slider ends and the accuracy drops as well. It was just barely trailing behind on TS Fury's accuracy for the majority of the map, but it started to extend to like about a 1.5% advantage for TS Fury, and right up to the very end, it came down to the last few notes, but yeah, now Rumi is in a do or die situation here in the winner's bracket. Has to win every map going forward in order to maintain themselves in this winner's bracket, as well as the tiebreaker too. We're gonna try to get this going here with the Hidden 3. One of the more infamous maps, I think, in this pool. I think this is a very well-known map for all of the players that have made it so far in this tournament. But yeah, it's image material, and if you don't know what it is, it's a lot of ult with a bunch of 260 BPM bursts mixed into it. So it's going to be pretty important that if you're able to, like, if you have to double tap, which I don't know if either of these players will, you can do that, but you need to hold on to your combo for as much as you can.
The big difficulty for most players at this level is not breaking on the ult. A lot of players, especially in lower rank ranges, struggle with the speed on this map. But for most players left in the tournament at this point, the main difficulty here is the ult, except if we're near, the diff spike. At that point, yeah, the speed gets to be quite a burden, but for most of the map, it really is just that ult, especially on OD8. Hacking these bursts is not that big of a challenge for a lot of players, and most players will not need to double tap because of how low that OD is. This being, a really old map. And this is going to be a lot of what we see in this map is just, image material for quite a while. All of these bursts, everything going on for just a long ways in this map. And both players have recovered the accuracy, or rather Rumi has recovered the accuracy. No act drops yet for TS Fury. We come into the second long burst there. Another couple of hundreds dropped for Rumi, but really we're just waiting on that first miss for either of these players.
Yeah, it's a waiting game on this map. Either first miss or just like a slight miss aim on one of these bursts, and then leads into a pretty big accuracy drop. But I mean, both of these players are doing really solid on the accuracy. The 100% SS did end up dropping for TS Fury a little bit ago, but still holding on to a slight accuracy advantage. It's going to keep this one pretty much dead even between these two players. A couple of difficult sections coming up here. There's a little wiggle back and forth, if I remember correctly, a little bit further here, but this little cut dream pattern is pretty easy to miss on if you miss aim the first note. However, you do just see a little bit of accuracy drop from Rumyndra. Not going to be dropping any combo though. There's of course the notorious triangle patterns, as well as a couple of pretty big spaced hexagons in this map, but this is another long burst. Ooh. And do see accuracy drops for both players, more on the side of TS Fury to even this one out.
Yeah, I think he started that burst early on that last one, which very understandable. It's I think a 1-1 gap in between, or a 1/2 gap in between, rather than just being part of the stream at the start there. So there's a couple of places like that where you're sort of rhythm and reading checked by the map. Now, Rumi actually has ACK advantage at this point into the next long burst. Oh my god, he almost shook off of that. Does drop quite a lot of accuracy, but TS Fury dropping more, still holding on to the score lead just barely. More drops of the accuracy on the triangle jumps for both of these players. Another couple of ACK drops on that burst, especially for TS Fury as we get into the second half of the map, and there is quite a lot more difficult patterns to come very soon. Gonna be getting into the wiggle jumps right here, and neither player missing it. Now into this slow section. This is that slow build up, the calm before the storm that you see in maps of songs like this that have some very calm sections right into a very difficult section. And this one is, I think, the first very iconic one that a lot of people remember. Super slow sliders right into the most difficult part of the map.
Yeah, this is gonna be tense here. It's gonna come down to who will find the first mistake, and it's gonna be Rumyndra right out of that slowdown section. Not even getting to the burst section yet. Now it's going to give a little bit of more advantage to TS Fury, but here's the hardest part of the map. TS Fury is hitting the patterns, does end up dropping on the stream pattern. Now Rumyndra is going to be trading a couple of misses, but for the most part, TS Fury was able to build up about 40,000 points in favor just off of that early miss after that slowdown section, and now is holding on to a better accuracy, albeit by 0.01, but still there's a little bit left in this map, some more difficult stream burst patterns, and these players can drop some more accuracy, but they're holding strong right now. Rumyndra needs a couple of mistakes from TS Fury.
Yeah, and forget the match. This is still an S-rank 1 slider break play from TS Fury on image material hidden in match right now, so I'm kind of invested in seeing whether he's able to hold on to the S-rank. But from Rumy's side, I mean, he needs to... TS Fury needs to miss. This is match point. It's 5-2. If TS Fury doesn't miss on this somewhere in this last little bit of the map, it's over. Rumy is out into the loser's bracket, and TS Fury will secure top 3 and a ticket to the winners finals. There's only so much more map left, but this is looking to be that S rank, that 1 slider break choke for TS Fury. 1 slip up during the hardest part of the map is all he's got on the record right now, otherwise completely clean. And it looks like he's going to carry that clean record into the ending here, finally reaching the end of this marathon. And TS Fury coming out just slightly ahead, losing pace a little bit in the combo, but leading overall with just the 1 blunder in the hardest part of the map. And there's another drop for Rumy, and that 100% seals it up. TS Fury, not just the win on the map, but the 1 slider break play on image material to close it out 6-2 in an upset victory to secure top 3 over the #1 seed.
I'm just in awe of what we witnessed, Theo. I mean, what an absolute masterclass performance from both of these two players. They were going so even all the way into one of the hardest sections of this 6.5 long infamous image material map, and in the end it is TS Fury who comes out on top, albeit by just barely doing so on that last map. But I mean, a much deserved victory, pretty decisive as well for the most part, but he will move forward and guaranteeing himself a spot in the winners bracket finals, also guaranteeing a spot in the grand finals no matter how they end up doing in the final stage. But Rumyndra, as he said, will be dropping down to the losers bracket, and we've got a couple more matches coming here. Coming up is, I believe, Azer versus...
Oh, Berkman versus Wandario first.
Oh, Rupertion versus Wandario.
No, Birchman.
Oh, Birchman. Oh, okay, I thought you said Rupertion.
No,
excuse me.
No, different one.
Yep, those guys are going to be first in about 9 minutes from now, actually, so a little break between that. And then we're going to be having the Azer versus Rupertion matchup in about an hour after that. So yeah, just come right back around, don't go anywhere, and we will have more matches for you tonight.